President Biden has had a rough time recently. He couldn't get climate change action. He couldn't get free community college. He couldn't get tax hikes on the rich. But it turns out there's one thing he could get.
We began this hour with breaking news from the White House, where President Joe Biden is in isolation after he tested positive for COVID.
The White House press secretary is saying that the president is fully vaccinated. He's been twice boosted. He's experiencing what they say are very mild symptoms at this point. So he will be isolating, but he will be able to continue in his role. He won't need to turn over any duties, it appears, to the vice president at this point.
Hey, folks, guess you heard this morning I tested positive for COVID. But I've been double vaccinated, double boosted. Symptoms are mild, and I really appreciate your inquiries and your concerns. But I'm doing well. I'm getting a lot of work done. I'm going to continue to get it done. And in the meantime, thanks for your concern, and keep the faith. It's going to be okay.
Okay. First things first. I'm sure all of our thoughts are with President Biden for a speedy recovery. Get well soon, sir. You made it through the Spanish flu. You can make it through this. I know you can do it. And also, it does look like he's going to be fine, right? He's even got like swag in that video. It's like, hey, you probably heard I got COVID. But I get why he's got swag. You know, he's been vaxxed, he's been boosted, he's been double boosted, and he's taking antiviral drugs. And just to be safe, he's sipping some bleach on the side, you know? Yeah, that shit seems a little ridiculous. Till you get COVID, then you're like, I'll try anything. Another reason the president's going to be fine is because, let's be honest, there's not much that COVID can do to him. Yeah, think about it. What's going to happen? The virus is going to get in his body and be like, let's see what I can do here. Time to get some brain fog, some fatigue, some dizzy. Wait. Have I already been here? What's going on? Now, in the meantime, Biden says he will not be taking any sick days, which is what sucks about being president, right? You still got to put on a strong face. Any other job, you'd be milking that shit. You know, it's like, oh, COVID really got me. Oh, I think I'm going to be sick for the rest of the summer. Oh, if you see pictures of me by the pool, oh, my phone was hacked. All right, but let's move on from the big news out of America to the big news that's coming out of the United Kingdom. The Queen has COVID. No, I'm joking. That would be crazy, though, right? That would be crazy. No, I'm joking. She doesn't have COVID. She's been dead for years. Anyway, back in 2019, Prime Minister Boris Johnson and his Conservative Party, they won a landslide election victory. It was huge. They won everywhere, in southern England, and Manchester, in Sherlock-upon-Watson, and East Narnia, all the places. Basically, between Boris and Ed Sheeran, 2019 was a good year, especially for British people who look like they're from the year 1326. It was a good time. And it was such a commanding victory that people thought Boris Johnson might become the prime minister who was up there for a decade. You know, which would be amazing for Britain's first human broom. But then Boris started getting caught up in scandals, right? He botched the COVID response. Then he got caught throwing a bunch of parties while the rest of Britain had to be in lockdown. And then he hired people who he knew were alleged sex offenders. And of course, there was that time when he showed up to Parliament wearing a t-shirt that said, the carpet matches the drapes, which was totally inappropriate because it doesn't. He combs the carpet. So, finally, last month, he was forced to resign in disgrace. And yesterday, he gave the greatest farewell speech of all time.
Boris Johnson facing Parliament for one last time as British Prime Minister, as only he would. Johnson defended his record in his farewell remarks. He also gave some words of advice to his successor.
Number one, stay close to the Americans. Stick up for the Ukrainians. Stick up for freedom and democracy everywhere. Cut taxes and deregulate wherever you can to make this the greatest place to live and invest, which it is. Focus on the road ahead. Focus on the road ahead, but always remember to check the rear view mirror. And remember, above all, it's not Twitter that counts. It's the people that sent us here. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank everybody here, and hasta la vista, baby. Thank you.
Hasta la vista, baby. This is the land of Shakespeare and Jane Austen, and the quote Boris chose was from the Terminator? I mean, I guess that shows you the power of American culture. Even the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom is like, farewell and Godspeed. The most ridiculous thing ever. And I don't know if you saw, like, the speech was weird, the whole thing. In the middle, it looked like he just started giving random advice about driving. Focus on the road ahead. Always check the rearview mirror. And remember, it's not a hit and run if you drive away slowly. All right? You know, it's also like, normally when you're giving a speech, especially about resigning or being fired, like, surely you want to make people regret it. Like, when you give the speech, you want people to go like, oh man, have we made the wrong choice? They're leaving. Like, remember with Obama, right? When he gave his farewell speech, even racists in America were like, maybe he was one of the good ones. But this guy gives a speech, you're like, yo, how did he get the job? How, like, did he win a contest or something? Who is this person? Anyway, let's move on to some news about America's most powerful institution, Amazon. And I know from the get-go, people have mixed feelings about Amazon. Oh, they exploit their workers. Oh, they ruin local economies. Quit bitching. I love them. You know why? If I need more shaman, I get it on Amazon, and boom, it's at my house in 6 hours. And yeah, maybe it's not exactly shaman, maybe it's like a Chinese knockoff, and maybe the toilet paper is mostly made out of lead, but am I gonna get brain poisoning from wiping with lead? No. And I certainly am not gonna get brain poisoning from wiping with lead. Anyway, the fact is, Amazon is a part of life in America. And I'm not gonna get brain poisoning from wiping with lead. And now, Amazon is gonna be expanding even more.
We have breaking news out of Seattle this morning, home to Amazon. The company announcing it is diving further into the healthcare industry with plans to buy healthcare provider One Medical for about $3.9 billion. Amazon says healthcare is high on its list of things that needs reinventing.
Yeah, finally a win for Jeff Bezos. Oh, man. I could not be more excited. Yeah, because with Amazon's prediction algorithm, healthcare will never be the same. You notice how they always know what you want, what you need before you even know it? Imagine them with healthcare. You're going to buy a pack of AA batteries, and then just before you check out, they'll be like, you might also need chemotherapy. I mean, chemotherapy, I don't have, shit! Shouldn't have used that lead toilet paper. Now, I know some people are a little uncomfortable with the idea of Amazon getting into every industry, because they're buying medicine now, they run the cloud, they own TV studios, they have grocery stores, and you know what, so what? What's the worst that could happen? Huh? Well, what, at some point Jeff Bezos owns everything? Yeah, so what? And then he has all our money, so now we're his slaves, working crazy hours in the warehouse, peeing in bottles. That doesn't sound so bad, yeah? At least I'll know where my packages are. Yeah, I'll take it for myself. The one thing that does suck about this is if Amazon also owns your medicine, you realize that means Alexa knows your medical secrets. You gotta watch out for that. Yeah, because you're gonna be hanging out at home with your friends, and all of a sudden Alexa will be like, your hemorrhoid cream is arriving this afternoon. No, Alexa, cancel, cancel, cancel. You would like me to cancel your giant tub of hemorrhoid cream? No, cancel. All right, that's it for the headlines. But before we go to a break, it's time to check in on the weather forecast with our very own Desi Lydic, everybody. Desi, it's absolutely insane. Please, just help us out. What is the weather looking like?
Oh, Trevor, it is hot out there, so let's make it quick, because I got a kid in my car.
What?
Relax. It's not my kid. It's just some actor I hired so I could use the carpool lane. Anyway, it is scorching all across this country, as you can see, and it is really important that we take precautions. So I'm gonna give everyone a few tips to stay safe out there, okay? Safe and cool. Now, this heat is dangerous, especially for pets and the elderly. Basically, anyone who eats out of a bowl is considered high risk. So do your elderly neighbors a favor, pop by, see how they're doing, check in, because if they die, God rest their soul, you get first dibs on that real estate. And this real estate market is a beast. You gotta be competitive. I actually checked in on my neighbor this morning. Unfortunately, she was fine.
Well, I guess
What
at
do
least
you
you
do?
checked in. Yeah.
What do you do? Second tip, it is cooler at night, so you're gonna wanna leave those windows open before bed. And I know what you're thinking, Trevor, what about robbers, right? Crime rates are up. So this is why I home alone my house every single night. Marbles on the floor, blow torches up above, the whole deal. You just takes care of everything. The one thing you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna remind anyone that you live with about that, because my husband has not been the same since the paint can incident.
Oh, wow.
A little bit rough. Next tip, wear loose clothing, okay? Especially if you sweat a lot like me, and I mean a lot. Like, Trevor, it is like a slip and slide under this suit. It's a whole situation. I'm talking violently moist. You do not want to know what's happening.
Yeah, yes, I do. I do not. I don't want to know. Yeah.
The sheer volume of it. Sometimes there's a grit to it. You know what I'm talking about? Like gritty. Have you ever opened up a dishwasher mid-cycle? That's what it's like. It's like that.
Well, I'm glad you didn't tell me, Desi.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyway, it is a medical condition, which is why I so appreciate you being such an ally, leaving out those towels for me, those beautiful clean towels in your bathroom for me to use 3, 4, 5 times a day sometimes. I really appreciate that. And to show you, that's why I always fold it up neatly and put it exactly how you left it. Thank you.
Desi, I use those towels on my face.
Of course, the most effective way to beat the heat is to stay hydrated, okay? But please, please, be careful. Watch out for products that claim to be more hydrating than water. That's a cash grab. There is only one thing that can hydrate you more than water, and that is Daryl's Hard Brown Lemonade. What makes it brown? After 1 or 2, no one cares. If it ain't brown, it's not going down. Has so good, so good. You know who could use Daryl's Hard Brown? President Biden. You know why? Because it also cures COVID. The only hard brown lemonade that also cures COVID. That is why I love this stuff. It is thick. Anyway, those are the big tips to carry you through this heat. Oh, one more thing, actually. If a guy named Daryl offers you $50,000, no strings attached, there are strings attached. Oh shit, this kid's calling me again. Ugh, yeah. No, you can't put the windows down. Someone could steal something. Well, did you home alone the car?
Is she gonna leave the kid? Oh, Desi Leidick, everybody.